It's going to be our video for Unit 3, Day 8. So, just like the last 2 days, we're going to be solving quadratic equations by factoring. What's going to be different on this time around is we're not going to have our shortcuts. We're going to have to do this the longhand way, just like we did on the first day. So the technique we learned on that first day, the long way when we're not using shortcuts, is called factoring by grouping. I remember the reason it's called that is because we group those terms together and take out factors. So what we've been doing the past few days, we've really been looking almost exclusively at cases where we have our shortcuts. So we have a equals 1, we have difference of squares, and when we factor by removing common factors. So today we're going to look at is only ones where we cannot use a shortcut. So we're going to have to do all of these today the longhand way. So what we're going to do before we start solving them is review what we did on that first day, review the steps. So the first thing, we call it step 0, right? Remember, it said equal to 0. It needs to be in standard form. Alright, so once it's in standard form, we're going to look at the factors of AC. And find those factors of AC that add up to B. Then we take those two numbers, we split up the middle term. We group the first and last terms together. Right, that's why it's called factoring by grouping. Then we remove common factors, and that's what creates our two factors. And the last step is we set each factor equal to 0 and actually solve. Let's just review the steps from what we did that first day when we were factoring. So now we're going to go through and actually apply it to these problems. So the first one, look at this one is already in standard form. So that first step is done for us. Alright, if we look, A is 6, B is 11, and C is 4. Alright, so we need to look for is factors of AC. Alright, that's 6 times 4, which is 24. So factors of 24 that are going to add up to 11. Alright, so when you think about two numbers that multiply 24, add up to 11, what's going to work here is going to be 8 times 3, and 8 plus 3. So now as we go through and we have to do this the long way. So we take this 11x in the middle, and we break it up using these two numbers. So we break it up into 8x and 3x. Alright, now we have 4 terms. We can group each pair of terms together and take out the common factors. So with 6x squared and 8x, I have two even numbers, so I can take out a 2. And I have x squared and x, so I can take out an x. And that leaves 3x plus 4 inside. My second set, 3x and 4, don't have any common factors, so I use 1 as my common factor. And then it's the same pattern we saw before in that first set. I get 1 factor twice, that's 3x plus 4. And those two common factors create my second factor, 2x plus 1. So now that's factored, we can set each factor equal to 0 and solve. So 2x plus 1 equals 0, and 3x plus 4 equals 0. Alright, so solve the one on the left, we're going to subtract 1, and then divide by 2. So here our answer is going to be fraction, negative 1/2. Same thing on the second one, we're subtracting 4, and dividing by 3. So since we don't have the shortcut, we don't have a is 1, b is 0, c is 0, there's no common factors, we have to do this one the long way. It's going to be the same idea with the second one. So on this one, the first step is not done for us. We're going to have to put it into standard form by adding 7 to both sides. One thing to make sure of is that we only combine like terms, so we don't combine that 7 with the 2x squared or the 9x. It's its own kind of term, it's the only constant term, so we just add it on that side. Once we have that, we can see our 3 coefficients. A is 2, B is 9, and C is 7. So what we're looking for here is going to be factors of A times C. That's 2 times 7, 14. We want to find those factors of 14 to add up to 9. So what's going to work here is 2 times 7. 2 times 7 makes 14, 2 plus 7 makes 9. So we use that 2 and 7 again to split up that middle term. So instead of 9x, I can write that as 2x plus 7x. Group my first two, group my last two, and we're going to take out common factors. So from the first set, I can take out a 2x. I'm left with x plus 1. From the second set, I can take out a 7. And again, I'm left with x plus 1. Right, so I want to look for patterns. The pattern we see, we should always get this same two terms repeated twice once you remove common factors, because that has to be one of our two factors. The other factor, again, comes from those common factors we take out, 2x plus 7. Now we set each one of those equal to 0, and we solve. So this gives us a negative 1, and this one's going to give us negative 7 over 2. So it looks like a lot of steps when we do this, it looks like a lot of work, but the more you practice it, the quicker you'll be at this. If you want to look for any extra examples, besides the one on the back of this sheet, you can find some more examples online if you search for factoring by grouping. The most important thing with this, though, is that you get plenty of practice. You do a lot of problems, and then the more you do, the easier these will get.